Yo guys, it's time for the weekly challenge number 32, and this week we are going to be all about vulnerability, because it is super important to show your true self, dare to actually go out there and expose yourself in the world naked. People can throw tomatoes at you, they can laugh at you, but you have to dare, because that is when magic is happening. So stay tuned and I will tell you all the details. First off, we need to define what vulnerability actually is, so we get an understanding of what we're talking about. Brené Brown, she's the researcher that has lifted this topic to the surface, who has made this something we can talk about. It's quite hard to grasp, and Brené Brown says it best herself.
We think of vulnerability as a dark emotion. We think of it as the core of fear and shame and grief and disappointment, uncertainty, things that we do not want to feel, right? Things that I don't want to be vulnerable because that means I'm afraid. That means I'm uncertain. That means I'm at risk. I'm exposed. I'm in grief. So what we do is we armor up and we say, I do not want to slip into these dark emotions. I will not let myself be vulnerable. Vulnerability is the center of difficult emotion, but it's also the birthplace of every positive emotion that we need in our lives. Love, belonging, joy, empathy. One of the symptoms that we're losing our capacity for vulnerability is that joy actually becomes foreboding. Something good happens, or we're looking at someone we love, or we're thinking about something we care about, and then we become compelled to beat vulnerability to the punch. Other symptoms: disappointment as a lifestyle. It is much easier to live disappointed than it is to feel disappointment. And so this is the person in the after school movie that, I don't want to play your stupid game because it's dumb and boring, and because really maybe nobody will ask me. We sidestep getting excited about something because we're not sure it's actually going to happen. Low-grade disconnection is another symptom of vulnerability avoidance. We go through the motions. It's like low-grade fever. It may not kill us, but it keeps us pretty miserable. Perfection is one of the, I call it the 200-pound shield. How can anything go wrong if my life looks like an ad? I'm going to perform and please and make sure everything's perfect. And perfectionism has nothing to do with striving for excellence and healthy. It's nothing to do with healthy striving. People who I interview who are absolutely accomplished and people who strive for excellence are the biggest negotiators and compromisers that I've ever interviewed. Perfection is a tool to protect ourselves. Extremism. There's a very simple equation. Faith minus vulnerability equals extremism. Faith is the vulnerability that flows between the shores of certainty. Faith without vulnerability. Spirituality is inherently vulnerable. It is believing in things we don't understand or really can't see. And last, I believe the most universal way that we are dealing with an intolerance for vulnerability in our culture is that we numb. Evidence of the numbing. We are the most addicted. We are the most medicated, obese, and in debt adult cohort in human history. We're numbing. And this doesn't even include busyness. I didn't even put the busy slide up. You know, when they start having busy recovery meetings, they'll have to, busy 12-step meetings, they'll have to rent out football stadiums. Because we just stay so busy that the truth of our lives can't catch up. That's the plan. You cannot selectively numb emotion. When we numb the dark emotion, when we numb vulnerability and fear and shame of not being good enough, we by default numb joy. We cannot selectively just numb the dark emotions. We have interesting research around this. We have research that shows us in addiction studies that an intensely positive experience is as likely to trigger relapse as an intensely negative experience. Let me tell you, if vulnerability is a sharp edge, there may be nothing sharper than joy. To let yourself soften into loving someone, to caring about something passionately, that's vulnerable.
If I were to explain it with my words, I'd say that vulnerability is me showing up every day as my true self, daring to speak my mind in conversations with people, daring to dress as I like, act as I like, doing what feels right from the bottom of my heart, pursuing my passion projects, making the right choices every day. You know, those kinds of things that just there's no resistance within me to do these things besides the external world, what people think about what I'm doing. But being vulnerable to me is to dare to go after those dreams, to dare to say what I really think, and knowing that I can get hit in the face by doing so. But in the end, the idea is that it should be worth it. Daring to put myself out there every day, knowing that I can get so freaking hurt by doing it. But doing that despite all the buts, because I know that's what I should do. That's vulnerability to me, and that is what I want us to go after. That is what I want this week's challenge to be about. To have these small little tasks, objectives that will make us feel what it really feels when we do that, when we really push ourselves to speak our mind in a conversation, to dare to tell your mother you love her. The feelings that explode within you when you do those things, such an emotional burst, explosion, it is so powerful, and it makes us grow as heck, because we realize, damn, this is what it's all about. So that is what we are gonna do. Pushing ourselves, daring greatly to be vulnerable. How are we gonna do this? Well, there's a lot of different things you can do to practice being more vulnerable, but not to make it too overwhelming. Start with only trying to speak your true self, showing who you really are in conversations, daring to really say what you think and feel. That is the number one thing I want you to do throughout this week, because that is very hard. That is quite demanding. I mean, if you're a person that usually just keeps agreeing, don't dare to tell what you really think, then this is a big task. So focus in on that. However, if you're hungry for more, if you know you can just go all in on this, I'm gonna give you a few more. Asking for help is one of those things that can be super scary. And personally, I just have such a huge... I never ask anyone for help because it just doesn't feel right to me. It's daring to be rejected in that way. People saying no, do some flirting, putting yourself out there. You're daring to say what you think. So practicing asking for help, practicing getting rejected, it is another thing that is just super useful for you to get used to being more vulnerable. Brené Brown actually emphasizes a whole lot the importance of creativity. To have that in your life on a daily basis. She says that is such a important, and many of us have these emotional scars from our childhood. A teacher telling us we didn't draw good, a bad experience when we were dancing. I had one of those experiences that someone told me I was such a shitty dancer. Deep scar within me. I can't dance without always thinking about this person telling me. But it's also so fun. I want to get rid of that because that is really a creative expression. So practice being creative this week. Put out an Instagram picture with your touch, or just sit down and draw a picture. Take out the crayons, just go nuts. There's a lot of ways for you to be creative. Music, play the guitar, do whatever. You must find some way to let this creativity get unleashed. Let that inner child play and have fun. Let him loose, let her loose.
Oh look, frost.
So that is it. That is this week's challenge. I'm excited. I hope you are as well. It is gonna be a tough one. That's just in the nature of this topic. Commit to me in the comments so I know you will follow through. Make sure to motivate yourself to have the proper why for why you are doing this. You'll need it. And with those words, this is Alexander signing out. I will hopefully see you in the vlog throughout the week, where I will share some personal experience but also give you some more tips for how to do this. I can mention that I plan to do some dancing this week. Maybe go on some kind of Tinder date. I'm really scared about the girls right now. Putting myself out there. I'm also gonna really try to speak my mind on the workplace if I meet with friends. I was just about to quit and I'm quitting now. So, see you in the week. Bye guys.
Jag må leva, jag må leva, jag må leva ut i 100 år.